long enough. We're going to bring them now to just in front of the ball of the foot over here. We're going to stand on there and try and get the baby toe knuckle and the big toe knuckle stretching over. So you're trying to make an arch through the foot. And touch the toes down to the floor and then lift them up. And touch them down and up. Down and up. One more time. Stretching. When you touch your toes down, then see if you can feel like you're going to lift the arches off. So you're really working through the whole arch of the foot. Imagining that your hand's like a hoof, or like your foot's like a hoof almost. Stretching and releasing again. Toes lengthening, really lifting the arch of the foot. And release. And one more time. And release. All right. And then just standing off, seeing how your footprints feel after having done that. And hopefully you do feel like your arch feels a little bit activated and lifted. And we're going to get these two flat bits now. Them down on the floor. Then I'm standing. I'm not on top of it because I want the outside line all the way up the baby toe to be very grounded. So I'm positioning it so that I feel like just the inside of the arch is lifted. And then I'm just going to shift my weight from side to side, noticing if I can really feel the outside of the line, the outside line of the foot pushing into the floor, or whether I instead am feeling that my inside arch is taking all the weight. And you're trying to really work at pushing and gliding all the bones to the edge towards your skin to help the outside line ground. And try and be quite light on the inside arch. And see if you can feel an even distribution of weight from your heel to your baby toe. So you're not just going, just on the bones in the middle of the foot, but trying to get a length through the foot. Okay, now we are going to really bend and land on the inside arch. And we're going to change from side to side. How that makes the pelvis move and glide. When we do that, it feels like the hips are kind of sashaying from side to side. So I'm really squashing the inside arch and squashing. And then I'm going to go back to the outside of the foot again, rounding through the outside bones. Trying to keep light through the arch of the foot and feeling what muscles in my pelvis are working when I'm doing that. Okay, coming backwards, we're now going to have the ball of the foot really on the highest part of the Makarlu. So I'm spreading my toes out and I want to feel that the weight is between the first and the baby toe. And I'm not letting my arch here, so I don't want my middle three toes to bear all the weight. I'm trying to really feel grounded through the big and the baby toe joints. And we're going to rise up onto the foot, onto the toes, and then lower back down. If you need a pole or something, I'm happy for you to get a pole if you need one. And again, as you go up, trying to get the big toe and the baby toe joint to have most of the weight, and lower back down. So we're working on melting around the shape and down. And you should feel that your calf muscles really have to pull up into the ball here. I'm making sure that I'm not sideways. I don't want you to just lean forwards to get your upwards movement. It's really that you are pushing your footprints down into the floor and your body goes straight up to the sky. So I'm using my calf muscles and grounding through the front of the foot. Still can't see me very well. Okay, then we're going to shift until the heels are on the Makarlu lifts. Okay. And we're going to shift the weight from side to side. And we're just going to notice how the pelvis is responding with the leg as we shift from one leg to the other. So what I want you to pay attention to is the way that the glutes are connecting. So for example, as you're going, you don't want it to be that you're kind of sticking your bottom out like this. You also don't want to be hanging back like that. You want to try and find a really straight line that travels all the way down the bone. And hopefully you feel that your pelvis is like a cog. So it turns slightly. The sitting bones roll back towards the heels to take the weight of the shift. And you just want to even close your eyes and really go into feel in a subtle way, whether it's your bottom, your quads, your knees, what is taking the workload, and try and really spread it out through the bones so that you get an opposition and a lightness between the heel and the sitting bone. The whole spine is gliding up. Every part of the leg is working in a synchronized way to balance and support the bones. So we're not thinking muscles, we're thinking of broad sheets of connective tissue, and we're thinking of bones. All right. With that same feeling in mind, we're going to nod our chins to our chest. And we're just going to do a roll down to the floor to wake the spine up. And I want you to notice whether your weight shifts right forwards onto the front of your foot or whether you're still able to keep the heel bones grounded. Because we really want to, especially as we stand up, melt the heel bones down into the Makarlu and then roll all the way up to standing and feel that natural stacking and the ease of movement creep from the feet all the way up to the head. And again, nodding your chin to your chest, trying to keep the weight grounded through the heels. I don't mind if you soften your knees a little bit. But we want the back line to be nice and active as we roll down to the floor. Let the head really hang. Release the neck. Think about the base of the skull really sliding towards the floor. And then melt the footprints into a Makarlu and slowly roll your way all the way back up to stand. One more time. Nodding your chin to your chest. Keep the heels grounded. Really roll down. Softening. Trying to feel balance with the front and the back of the body. And then grounding through the heels and slowly coming all the way up to standing. All right, now I'm going to get the two small ones. So I've got the small one inside the medium-sized one. And I'm going to stick them to one side of the flat disc. Okay, so that I'm going to put it down and it's going to be on an angle.
Good morning. I'm a bit late, but I'm here for half an hour.
Wendy. Okay.
What am I putting on?
We've got
the small one.
The medium one on the wooden base. So we're going to make a slant. And we're going to put it down on the floor on an angle. Then you're going to stand on it. And we're going to step forwards. Or stand upright, whatever works for you. If you've got really tight calves, you might not be able to take it forward. But you want to be in a position where you feel your heel is still connected and you're just trying to let the bones slip down towards the floor. Okay? And we're just going to hold that. If you feel you can do a very slight glide forwards and backwards. But the most important thing is to have the feeling that the shin bone is really sliding down towards the heel, releasing the back of the leg. We'll just hold this for a minute because this one is really good when it gets going. If it starts, just keep, I'm not going to say I'm bouncing. Let's say I'm melting forwards and releasing back, checking that my heel's still grounded, sliding forwards again, easing back. So just slowly working at thinking about the bones, sliding through the tissue, releasing all the way up the calf. All right. Now you're going to come off and you're just going to walk around a little bit to see how that leg feels. We're going to come back and do the other side. Hopefully you feel really grounded through that footprint.
I can't really see your feet.
Oh, you can't. Sorry. Let me make it a bit closer.
Ah, that's better. Thank you.
Sometimes I do just my feet, but today, because we've been doing a bit of standing work, next time I'll do just my feet, Rosie. All right, so standing and just slowly gliding your pelvis forwards and backwards. But the important thing is to make sure that the heel is down. So you're constantly thinking of trying to let the bones really slip down towards the floor. And if it's feeling really tight, you just visualize the bones and the tissue sliding past each other. Try and encourage the body to allow the elastic nature of the fascia to be reinstated. Make sure that your knee stays straight and you're not bending at the knee to release the tension. All right, and then coming off and walking around.
Wow, that was great.
Feels good, doesn't it? Makes a difference. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to do another roll down to see how we feel after having released the calves. Okay, so nodding the chin to the chest, softening through the spine, and slowly rolling down to the floor. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, melt the footprints down. Feel like you're being inflated as you come all the way back up. All right, so how did that feel after we'd released the heels? I think that we can all feel like we can have the ability to melt into the ground a little bit better, which in turn helps our glutes to work better. So for any of you that are fanatical walkers, it's always a great idea to do this calf stretch before you go for a walk so that you've just lengthened and activated the back line of the body. And for you, Nikki, with your running uphill story, always you know that. Okay, here we are. We're going to get the small ones. Do some shin release, and then don't worry, Carol, I'm coming to the arms soon. So if you feel like this is an uncomfortable position for you, then you can always get a bolster or a cushion to sit on so that you feel a little bit more at ease, because we want to be able to relax into it. I like to sit with my leg out to the side. For me, that's comfortable, but you can sit with your leg in front of you, or you can kneel, whatever works. And we're going to just release up the shin bone. So I'm putting the pink Makarlu just along the line that travels up from the ankle towards the knee. And then I'm putting it just on the inside of the shin bone. So I'm going to travel up the seam of my pants, essentially. And I'm just going to push down, and I'm going to wriggle a little bit, trying to gently ease the tissue away from the bone. And then if you feel like it's doable, we're just going to point and flex the foot at the same time.
Is this on the front of the bone or right on the bone, Carol?
Just behind the bone, where the muscles attach. So you
okay.
kind of go in just behind the bone and on the underneath as well, just behind the bone.
Perfect. Thank you.
because we just want to increase the bone's ability to slide through the muscles. So we just put a little bit of pressure on the muscles at the back. And then when we take the little balls off, all the good juicy stuff that feeds the fascial system floods back in to make it nice and bouncy. Okay, let's move up one. So we'll go up, I don't know, about an inch. And again, flossing. Have I lost Rosie? Is Rosie there? She seems to have frozen. Flossing backwards and forwards. Okay, moving up again. Another inch. How's it to be? Are you going back to school any days, Wendy, or are you just?
I'm remote this week and next week, and then I might go in part-time after that. I'll see.
Oh,
our students are there on a rotation every day.
All right, and then coming up here. Now we are right, just the bony part where the sort of above the shin. I'm just getting into that dimple up there. Pushing in. Rosie, just so you know, at the end of every week, I send out some of the recorded classes that we've done, so you can catch up on things if there's something that you really liked. I don't put all of them on, but I try and do 5 a week. So.
Thank you. What are you doing? I missed it.
All right, I'm going to do the other leg now. You'll have to do the other one after the class. We're going to get the small, actually let's just sit with both our legs out and just point and flex, those of you that have done it, just to feel the difference. So we're going to get the small ball, and we're going to put it down right by the ankle. So I'm going to have one on the outside seam of my pants, and I'm going to put my leg on top of it. So I'm using the weight of my leg to push down, and the other one goes on the inside seam of my pants. So I'm trying to wiggle in just behind the bone, and then I'm pointing and flexing my foot just to ask the tissue to slide across the bone. So I put quite a lot of pressure down with my top hand, as much as you can handle. Okay, then we move up an inch. So again, try and position, I will say now, I think you're kind of between the shin bone and the fibula on the outside. So you're trying to again put down towards pressure, and placing the other hand just behind the shin bone on the top, pointing and flexing your foot. Flossing. All right, moving up one more.
Have you got time for me to ask a quick 2-minute question at the end of this as well, Caro?
Of course.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I might have to finish a bit early. I do have another class at 8 o'clock. So,
Oh,
yeah.
no, I don't catch up with you later.
Yeah, just call or text me.
Okay.
Pointing, flexing, crossing. All right, now we're coming right up. So now we're really, this is the little bone that dents in at the top of the shin. So I'm really up in that divot there. And then the other one just underneath the knee. I'm really trying to mobilize into that point. I'm like Cinderella now. I feed all the birds, all the pigeons in the neighborhood. I've got them up on my roof waiting for their morning. They're getting quite brave, but they're not quite willing to come down onto the deck with me. Oh, that feels quite good. All right. So let's have both legs out in front of us now. And we're going to point the feet. And then we're going to reach the heels out. Okay. So we're just going to break down this movement. It seems like something quite simple, but, you know, obviously because you're all doing gyrokinesis as well, I think it's a valid thing to go over. So when I'm pointing, we're going to point the ball of the foot, then we curl the toes, and then we try not to do too much through the ankle, but really work the foot, working the arch, trying to melt this section of the foot upwards. So once we feel like we've really got the foot engaged, then we slowly take the toes all the way down to the floor. Should be getting a little cramp in your foot now. And then we peel the toes back and we reach the heel out. What I don't want to see here is that we do this to get the heels reaching out. Can you see how if I reach my heels out but my knees pop up, I'm really only using the front of my legs to pretend that I'm reaching my heels out. And what I actually want to see is that we are finding and thinking about an extension through the bones, some space in the knee, a real loop that happens down the shin and towards the baby toe, so that my heels actually lift off and my bones and all the muscles of my leg are really tensing my legs, so I feel like my bones are being compressed. And then I can start to curl my toes again, really make that hawk foot, and then keep going, point, 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 reach the toes down to the floor, and then without letting the knees pop up, trying to find the length through the bones and an activation that has thigh bone all the way to the heel. And
that was part of what the question was, because I'm still finding hip flexors kind of pop up. It feels like the pelvis needs to sit down, but I'm just...
The pelvis is sitting down and the upper thigh bone is sitting down.
Yes, but it's not sitting down yet. What can I do to invite it down?
Check that you are internally rotating your thigh bones.
Yeah, thank you. Got it. Okay, I know what I've just done with the other exercises. Thank you.
Right, and now one more time, curling the toes and trying to feel like I've got these funny pants on. You try and feel that this section is melting up as your foot curls down. So there's like an ease and a glide that happens through the foot before the ankle point comes in, okay? And then we point, the toes are really trying to touch the floor, and you can tense all the way up your legs, really squeeze the bones, and then peel the toes up. Make sure that the back of the knee stay open. As I said to Nikki, the inside thigh bone needs to stay grounded, and then you reach the heels out. And while you're doing that, you're simultaneously squeezing all the way up the bone. So that now, some of you who've done a lot of gyrokinesis, there's a thing called the shivering, which is like the trembling that happens when we really get an activation through the bones. And you want to almost try and feel like you're squeezing everything so tight that you get that little shake happening. Don't worry if you don't feel it straight away. It's an end goal. All right. So that was really good. Now we're going to do a little bit of arm stuff for Carol, and then we'll do some lying down rib mobilization. All right. We're going to get these big ones, and we're going to put them on top of your chair. We're going to rest on top of it. So when I'm here, I'm actually really leaning onto it. Okay, I've got my whole body weight.
What size is it?
Sorry?
Is it the big size?
Biggest one. Yeah.
I can't see.
Biggest, yes. And then we're going to circle like this.
Yum.
But for me, I can feel my tricep. My tricep is a little bit, let's say, ropey. Not sliding as nicely as it should be. So we just circle and think about putting as much downward pressure on the muscle as possible. Change direction. Thinking of the bones rolling through the tissue. Trying to get the gliding sensation. Right, coming down a bit further towards the elbow, not right. You don't want to be right on top of ligaments. You always want to be more in the belly of the muscle. But we're going to do the same thing, sweeping around, just massaging all the muscles there that come down to the elbow. You know, for people that play a lot of golf or tennis, sometimes there can be some bursitis issues around the elbow. So you do have to be a bit careful of that, which is why you don't really ever want to be putting weight on top of where the tendon joins the bone. The body does not like that. So you want to be just above or just below. Change direction, circling. Thinking about not only the muscles and the bones sliding past each other, but you know, when the fascial system becomes really tight, it also inhibits the nerve sensation because it squeezes the nerves too much. So thinking about all of the tissue, releasing and having space so that everything can glide and slide nicely. All right, just see how that feels. Oh, that feels a bit better. Now, we're going to roll our thumbs down to the floor and you're going to put weight on top of your bicep. And this one, obviously, it's a little bit difficult to circle, but I'm just going to roll forwards and backwards. So I am massaging the bicep and how it attaches to the bone. You know, when we talk about the fascia and we're thinking about the white sheet that you see on the outside of a fillet steak or something, and it has that sort of real sinewy feel to it. So it also goes around the muscle and then actually attaches the muscle onto the bone. Sometimes I've found that people's bones are really stuck to the muscle. So if this feels tight, that's what you want to be thinking of. Trying to imagine that you are, if this is the muscle and it's attached like that, it's like you're trying to just wiggle it a little bit to facilitate the sliding. And, you know, you can obviously do this with any section. Up on your fridge, for example, you can lean your shoulder into it because you know these stick to the fridge. So you can lean into it and you can do any kind of arm movement. You can also do it through the front, through the pec. We haven't done much of that because it's kind of hard to demonstrate lying down, but maybe I'll do that in the next class. Any section of the body that's tight, you can apply the same principles. Okay. We're going to come to these now. Just first of all, actually wobble your arm around a bit and see how that feels. For me, that feels a lot freer.
Freer. Mm.
So we're going to get the small one and we're going to put it underneath the white part of the skin where the sun doesn't ever hit. And then we're going to go, so if you just maybe palpate a little bit first and feel, okay, you've got your two bones, the radius and the ulnar, and you want to be mobilizing up between those two bones, okay? So the one's underneath, the other's on top. And we're just pointing and flexing. Now here especially you can feel, because a lot of us, our forearms are a bit overactive, you can feel that the muscles want to kind of force this up. They want to pop. And what we want to try and encourage in our minds is that the muscles are sliding in a lengthened way. So we don't let them push our hand up to the ceiling, but we rather keep the pressure and force them to find a different way to move past each other so that they're lengthening as they're doing it. All right, moving down a little bit more. And again, flossing, allowing the muscles to slide over the bones, visualizing the nerves having space to glide through.
So why are the forearms dominant then? What's not working above it?
What's that? Say?
You said most of us are a little bit overactive in the forearms. Why are they dominant? What's not working above it?
Shoulders. If you've got bad shoulder stability, then your forearms overcompensate, and you know, because of the nature of the shoulder socket, because it is a very shallow socket,
Yeah.
whereas the hip is really
Deep.
really wraps around the ball of the thigh bone. But in order to have the range that we have, the shoulder socket is very shallow. So most people at some stage of their life will have an issue with their shoulder stability.
Okay.
And so then the forearm ends up overcompensating. Okay, coming down a little bit more. So now we're quite close to the wrist. And we're trying to slide the muscles and the bones past each other. I was actually thinking I should do a class just on shoulders and just on hips.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe just swap out one of the gyrokinesis classes and we can do some rehab stuff.
Yeah, great.
All right, and then just release and just move your arms a bit and see how it feels. Yeah. Okay. We'll come to doing. Actually, let's do the hand now. So, what are we going to do? We are going to stack one of the balls all back inside itself. Actually, you know what? I think, sorry, changing my mind. Let's do the other arm first, and then we'll do the hands together at the end. So I'm going to swap this to the other side. And I'm going to do my big one again and position it here. We're going to start again with the tricep. Right. And straightening and bending. Hello. Hi, Mummy. You want to come and say hello to everyone? Yeah. All those people. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Hello. What's your name?
Scarlett.
Are you heading off to school today, Scarlett?
No, she went yesterday and she's going tomorrow.
Right.
All right, let's move down to the elbow now. Pop off. Okay, go back in and see Daddy now. All right, circling around. There you go. And then change direction. Rolling, thinking again of all the muscles sliding past the bones. Tender Nikki.
Oh.
All right, now we're going to turn the thumb right down to the floor. Try and really internally rotate the whole shoulder and put the bicep on it. And then we're just going to roll forwards and backwards here. Rolling. Shh. Better be quiet, okay? All right. Whew. And let's just see how that feels. All right. Grabbing the smaller ones. One going under and light part, and the other one going on top. Again, not right at the elbow, but just a little bit down so that we're not hitting all the ligaments. I need a little bit more space here. We're just going to do the Spider-Man, shoot your web, and release. Don't do that. Just leave them. Go back inside, please, and watch TV. Yeah, so with the ligaments, you know, where they attach to the bone, because they have the muscles that pull on them, there's a thing called a bursa. Some of you might know already, some of you might not, which is like a little cushion of fluid that stops the ligament from rubbing on the bone. And so that's the point that we need to avoid putting pressure on. Okay, coming down a little bit. And again, crossing here. And flexing. And again, one more. Making sure you've got space. Darling, can you please go inside now? It's later today. Go away. Goodbye. I'm not going to buy them if you don't go inside. After school. Don't be naughty, otherwise you're not going to get any at all. Scarlett. Sorry, just give me 1 minute. Scarlett, come inside, please. What do? You know what? When I'm not teaching, you watch your iPad for 4 hours. All right, just wobbling your hands around. Sit still. Okay, here we are. We're going to put them all inside each other. We're going to put the bases on. So I will say that when they're all stacked like this, their weight is about 0.5 kilogram. So if when we're doing this, this feels too heavy for you, you can always take some of the insides out for the strength part. Obviously, when we're doing the hand stretching, it's good to have them solid because then they're not going to collapse. Okay, so you're just going to grab your full base things. All right, we're going to go here. We're going to drop the heel of the hand, and then we're going to lengthen the fingers. So we're just mobilizing the wrists very slowly. What do I want to say about this? You know, with everything that we do in gyrotonic, and I apply those principles to everything, it's never that we want to really jam the wrist and make a very acute angle here. We're always trying to travel the long way around. So, is Carol there? Oh, she is.
Yeah.
So when we are putting our weight here, we don't want to think about, what will I say, collapsing into the joint and compressing through the top. Instead, we are thinking about really trying to ground and plant through the heel of the hand and keeping that so that it's more that we're lengthening the underneath of the hand rather than just collapsing through the top. Right? So that principle applies for everything. So as we do all of these mobilizations, I want you to keep thinking about the different points of the hand being connected to the dome. All right, so we're going to drop the heel of the hand down, and then we'll just reach the fingertips over. And while we are doing this, we want to still have our grip active. So I'm actually holding the wood, and then release. And again, holding the wood with my fingers and strengthening all the tissue as I'm stretching it, and release. So for example, if our fingers were just resting on here and I was doing this, then what will I say? I'm releasing into the fascial line underneath, but because I'm not active through my hand, I'm not simultaneously strengthening and stretching. So in everything that we do in gyrotonic, we always want to have the principle that I'm, say, reaching here, I'm opening this section, but at the same time, I'm strengthening the back. And that is what has been proven to really make a big difference in mobility and flexibility. So for example, if I am just lying on a roller and I'm just hanging, then I'm hanging on the tissue, but because I'm not strengthening the back at the same time, the stretch will just rebound because this tissue is tight to support the shoulder. And if I have it enough to work, then it's never going to let go of its hold. So that's the same for the hands. If I'm just hanging on this line, I will temporarily have a stretch through the underneath of the arm. But because I'm not strengthening anything and giving it a different way to work, it's not going to be a lasting change. So any time that you are doing stretching, it is always important to think about that. Am I actually just hanging on a muscle, or am I trying to develop an alternate muscle to take a little bit of a load, if that makes sense? Okay, so here we are. We're using our grip. We're holding on nice and tight. Just make sure that your fingers are all lined up with the bones. So don't be too wide and have fingers off at funny angles. You want to be quite symmetrical. So let's go now. We're going to do circles. So we're going to hold on to the Makarlus with our fingers, and we're going to roll around. So I'm hitting my baby finger, ring finger, middle finger, first finger, thumb, and then the heel of the hand. Rolling around and again, making sure that every digit is active and noticing how that works up the arm. So what you should be feeling, and what I would like you to aim for, is that as you are circling through the hands and through the Makarlu, you're feeling it even up into the shoulder girdle. So what I want to feel is that as I'm rolling this way, my bone here moves, and even all the way up to the shoulder, I get an external rotation. So I'm not bending the elbows too much, but really trying to work from the shoulder blade to the hand. And we're going to change direction. Always looking for a long line of connection, because then we don't wear any of the joints out. Turning from the upper arm bone to get the mobility. And down. And again. Rolling around. I'm feeling something between my shoulder blades at the back because I'm not pushing my hands in front of me. I'm letting my arm slide back into the sockets. So I feel like my chest is helping to put some pressure onto my hands and my arm bones are stirring. Change direction one more time. Really working through. All right. Placing your hands now flat on the floor. We're going to rock forward slightly. Okay. We rock forward slightly and we're going to try and peel the hands up. And then as we go back down, we rock back. Okay. So we're working, even though I am peeling up, I'm also pushing my fingertips down into the floor. For me, I like to have my toes tucked under. I don't know whether it's just gyro training, but I feel like that's a more comfortable position. But if that feels too much for you, you can just have your feet flat on the floor. Rolling and stretching the palm of the hands, not being passive, but actually trying to get every knuckle down individually. Okay, then we turn sideways. So we're doing the same thing, peeling through the hands, making them active. So that means in this situation, I'm creating breaks, all right? I'm not just collapsing. I'm working to get my first fingers knuckle down and then slowing it down so that I'm really stretching the fascia on the hand before I put the heel of the hand down, and then peeling very deliberately back up, one knuckle at a time. And again, rolling. If you feel a stretch all the way up the forearm, that's also fine. If you don't, that's also fine. Peeling up. I know, it's a big stretch. Last one. Reach and peel. Okay, now turning this way. Rolling through. You can bend your elbows here and then peeling up, working through the fingers. Stretching and down, all the way up. Rolling. And then the last ones are the killer. Again, I have my weight back on my legs or like this. So don't put too much pressure on your hands, especially with this one because it really is a big stretch, okay? I'm rolling this way and I'm slowly moving my weight forwards to assist with the stretch, and then I'm rolling slowly backwards. If that feels too much, you can just do it like this with your own hand. It's up to you. You don't want to strain anything. It's all about releasing and easing into something. If we strain something or we stretch it too much before the body's ready, then the body just gets upset with us. So you always just want to listen to your own body and how far it can go. It's never a competition.
Thanks for asking for this, Carol. Great idea.
Thank you.
You know, I do these stretches every day, Caro, and not like this, however. Yowza.
All right, let's just shake them out and see how we feel. All right, how is everybody going with that?
Good.
Ow.
Excellent.
I'm just going to do a little bit of work on, what are we doing? We are activating the palm of the hand in the same way that we work the arch of the foot. So we try and make a cupping sound like the camel man, how he used to do his whistle. And then we pull our hands apart. Is that an international reference or was that just South African?
What was?
Camel man and his whistle.
Yeah, that's South African. Australia, it would be, I don't know, kangaroo.
No, the camel signal. It's in the 80s anyway. Okay, here we go. So we now feel like we can understand where the suction cup of the hand is. Now we're going to hold on to these and we're going to try and, instead of having the hand being flat here, I'm trying to lift and make a real arch through the palm of the hand, okay? And I'm using my fingers. I know I've got quite big hands, so hopefully you can all reach. As I said, this is quite heavy. If it's too much for you, you lower it down. We're going to keep the elbows straight and we're going to circle the hands, working on grip. Grip is a very, very important thing, big indicator of health. So if your grip is not good, it's like really something needs to be worked on. Okay, so we're circling and strengthening, trying to hit all the different sections of the hand, rolling the forearm bones around each other, mobilizing and working everything that we just done. Change direction of the circle. If this is too hard, as I said, you take some of the inside domes out. Even you can just do it just with the wood. Or if this feels too wide a grip for you, you can take the wooden base off and you can just hold the domes. But every finger tracks up to a different muscle in the rotator cuff. And hopefully you can feel this working all the way up the arm bone into the shoulder. All right, and just shake the hands out. I'm just going to turn them this way and do a very gentle push through. Okay, don't work too hard. Just open up. Let's hold it there and soften the chest, soften the neck. And just stretch from side to side, opening up the back of the neck. Wiggling. And then let's sit up tall and have a yawning sensation. So feel like you're just stretching, first stretch in the morning. Wiggle a little bit, wake up your spine under your fingers. Let your hands slowly travel down to the floor. Keep stretching your arms. Keep that yawning feeling. All right. Beautiful, guys. That's it for today.
Thank you, Caro.
Thank you, gorgeous.